In late February 2026, an unprecedented escalation in the Middle East began when Israel and the United States launched a massive coordinated military campaign against Iran's military infrastructure and ballistic missile capabilities, marking the most significant confrontation in years between Tehran and the Western alliance. This operation, initially dubbed Operation Lion's Roar, involved sustained air and missile strikes targeting key Iranian cities, air defense systems, command centers, and underground missile facilities, representing a dramatic shift from routine tensions to full-scale conflict. Over the first week of the war, Iran responded with waves of ballistic missiles and drones aimed at Israel, U.S. military bases throughout the Gulf region, and, in some instances, civilian and strategic infrastructure in allied nations, triggering widespread regional escalation. On the sixth day of conflict, Israel shifted its operational focus to targeting deeply buried missile storage sites within Iran, indicating a transition to a deeper, more sustained campaign aimed at degrading Iran's long-range strike capabilities. Simultaneously, human rights groups reported that over 1,000 Iranian civilians, including at least 181 children, have been killed in the Israeli bombing campaign, with thousands more wounded and significant destruction in urban centers such as Tehran and other provinces. Beyond Iran's borders, the conflict's flames have spread regionally. Iranian-aligned militias, including Hezbollah, have continued to fire rockets and drones into northern Israel, leading to Israeli reprisals in Lebanon and significant displacement of civilians in border communities. Strategic tensions have also manifested as Iranian drone strikes reportedly hit an airport and nearby civilian areas in Azerbaijan, injuring multiple people and prompting sharp diplomatic condemnations, illustrating that the conflict's impact is not limited to the traditional Israel-Iran battlefield but now touches the broader Caucasus and beyond. The scope of attacks has widened further, with reports from independent media and international outlets noting Iranian missile and drone assaults on multiple Gulf states' territories, including Bahrain, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Iraq. Some of these attacks have resulted in casualties and infrastructure damage despite interception efforts, raising fears that the conflict could ignite additional fronts unless de-escalation occurs. This modern war has had significant humanitarian consequences. Tens of thousands of people have been displaced within Iran, Lebanon, and northern Israel, with critical healthcare systems struggling under the strain of war casualties. The crisis has also drawn widespread international outcry, with human rights organizations condemning attacks that have damaged schools, hospitals, and residential areas. In addition to its human toll, the conflict is disrupting global systems on an unprecedented scale. Major commercial airlines have canceled and rerouted hundreds of flights as airspace closures spread across the Middle East, and Saudi Arabia's national airline extended suspensions on key international routes through March 6, a clear sign that civilian travel and global connectivity have been severely affected by war-related safety concerns. Economic shocks continue to ripple worldwide as disruptions to maritime traffic in and around the Strait of Hormuz hamper the movement of crude oil and refined products, forcing refineries in Asia to cut production runs and declare force majeure on supply contracts. This has compounded existing volatility in energy markets, driving gasoline prices higher in multiple regions and intensifying inflationary pressures on ordinary consumers. Some analysts believe that this broader economic impact could be one of the most enduring legacies of the conflict, reshaping global trade flows, energy security strategies, and economic forecasts for years to come as nations scramble to adapt to prolonged instability in one of the world's most critical regions for oil and gas exports. The war has also created political and diplomatic divides across the world. While some governments have condemned the actions of Iran or have voiced strong support for Israel and U.S. policies, others have called for immediate ceasefire negotiations and diplomatic talks to prevent further escalation. There have even been reports of conflicting discussions about whether intelligence channels between the U.S. and Iran have attempted to open dialogue on ending hostilities, though official statements remain contradictory and uncertain. Back on the ground, Israeli authorities have maintained a state of emergency since late February, with mobilization of reservists, closures of schools, restrictions on public gatherings, and preparations to shelter civilians in the event of prolonged retaliation or escalation. Despite hopes from some analysts for a rapid end to combat operations, military leaders on both sides have signaled that this conflict could continue for weeks, if not longer. Former U.S. political leaders, including the commander-in-chief earlier in the conflict, suggested that initial timelines had been optimistic, and that the war's duration could extend far beyond early predictions, even as varied perspectives exist on whether political changes or battlefield shifts might alter its course. This war represents a complex fusion of modern warfare, combining air power, ballistic missiles, drones, regional proxy involvement, economic disruptions, and global geopolitical tension, and has now become one of the defining international crises of the early 2020s. Its effects are being felt not just by the parties directly involved, but by populations, markets, and governments around the world. As we continue to monitor the situation, the possibility of diplomatic breakthroughs remains uncertain, and the risk of the conflict expanding into new regions looms as both sides maintain pressure on each other. The coming days and weeks are likely to be critical in shaping whether this confrontation will subside or transform into a prolonged and deeper geopolitical struggle affecting global security, economy, and regional alliances. This comprehensive overview aims to help you understand not only how this war began and its recent developments, but also the broader context and what might lie ahead, so stay tuned for more detailed updates in our future videos.